coming off, Easter weekend. It's kind of funny to say that, right? I mean, playing football on Easter weekend, you expect kind of Final Four type deal, but not football. But just anytime you get a road win in this league, you got to be thankful. Beat a team that I don't think their record indicated, what caliber of football team he had. You knew they wasn't going to go away, and they didn't. They kept, battling and fighting. You knew it was going to be a full quarter game. But, pleased with the way our guys, rebounded from the week before. Been playing great defense. We continue to play really good defense and kind of redeemed ourselves offensively. I thought our execution and just hanging on the football, turning the ball over was, much, much better than the week before. So, and then kicking game I thought was a huge difference in the game. I think we kept the field flipped around with our kicking game, our coverage units, the way we kicked the ball off, the way we punted the ball. So very, very pleased with that. Just a complete game. And, sets yourself up for this week is, kind of where we want to be. And playing for a conference championship and a chance to go in the playoffs. So, like I said, excited about, this week and going to Murray. Going to be another, just a tough road game. I wish the game was here for sure. But excited to have a chance to play for a championship, this weekend against a good Murray team. Talking about Murray, Coach Hood does an excellent job. I mean, I felt like he was one of the better coaches in our league, when he was at EKU, and things hadn't changed. You look what he's done in a short time, at Murray. It speaks to the caliber of a coach he is and the man he is. He does an outstanding job, and it kind of bleeds through their team. We followed them all year, so I've got to watch them on tape about every week. So you just see, how they play the game with extreme effort. They're fundamentally sound in everything they do in all three phases. Just blocking and tackling. Special teams he does himself. So, they're really good at special teams. So we got a work cut out for us. I mean, they got some weapons on offense. Got two running backs that can beat you. Got a quarterback. It's not just a game manager. He extends plays. Very headsy in the way decisions he makes, where he goes with the ball. Very accurate passer. Can beat you with his legs as well. So, and then defensively, they got a lot of guys over there that can play football, and they're always in the right spot. And I go back to they tackle very well too. So it's going to be a great football game this weekend.
Can you just talk about what it would mean to win the conference on the way out?
Well, I think it'd be fitting, in my opinion, so it'd be great to be able to do that. I think just for this team to have played in the fall, playing again in spring, to sit here and have a chance, an opportunity this weekend, you couldn't ask for anything more, So I know our guys are going to be excited to play. It's going to be a great football game. It's going to be one of those kind of classic games. It should come down to the wire, and maybe who's got the ball last or who makes a play in the last few minutes of the game. So we're expecting that type of game. But it does mean a lot. Championship it means a lot to any team. But last year in OVC, and to go out like that would be huge. And I'm glad we are fortunate enough to have that opportunity this weekend.
Both teams are ranked 1 and 2 in the league in rushing offense. You guys are number 1 against the run. Is it kind of a strength-on-strength kind of game?
I think it'll be. We both pride ourselves in stopping the run the football. So it should be a very physical game, and any game like this, I think it's going to be won in the trenches. And I think their O-line, D-line's really good, and I think our O-line, D-line's really good. So it's going to be a war in the trenches, and who makes those 4 or 5 plays. Come down to those 4 or 5 big plays. I mean, who can create some explosive plays in the game. I think will be huge. And then, I think both of us are pretty good, kicking the ball and special teams wise. So I think a mistake in the special teams may be a difference as well. So hopefully, we'll be able to play clean there. But I think it's definitely going to be a war to the trenches.
Barry and Harris good for this week?
Yes, both should be back. Have not seen any of them practice yet, so but I feel comfortable that they should be back in the lineup and playing. And we came out clean last weekend too, so we should have everybody, close to back as full strength as we can get at this time. We've lost 6, 7 guys for the season. That kind of takes a toll on you, as the year goes on. So hopefully we'll be able to have another weekend where we don't get anybody else hurt.
Talk about Ahmad Edwards' development and the receiving corps as a
boy, you just love to see that much. Has some success. Start with Ahmad. I mean, he just come into his own. This spring, and it made some big catches in the fall too. But this spring is this weekend is a good example of that. Just made some huge plays. Had his best day ever, and just continues to develop as a player. And then that unit has been just. I'm extremely proud of them. It's been exciting to watch their development. Through the fall and spring. So they had big shoes to fill. I mean, that was our best unit on the field the year before. That was the strength of our football team, was our receivers. And to lose all those guys, you come in, I've said it from day one, you got a bunch of blue-collar guys, there at that unit. And to watch those guys develop and compete and get better and push one another every day, that's been fun, fun ride to watch and sit back and, just watch them compete every day. And they made plays. They've played well above, their expectations.
Is Thompson kind of become a pipeline for receivers?
Yeah, I think so. My pet way, we're glad to have both of them, in the lineup. And like I said, those guys have, made some big plays, and it's been huge for our team.
Coach Cross, this has developed into a de facto championship game. Would you like to play in a league that had an annual championship game, maybe in divisions with a championship game at the end?
Yeah, it would be, because it's kind of ironic, I guess lucky, whatever you want to call it, that we end up this weekend with us two playing. And neither one of us have to count on somebody else beating the other one or anything. We control our own destiny with that game, so it ended up being. But how many times does it happen like that? Very few times does it happen, like that. So I do think a league championship game is a great thing. I mean, if you got 10, 12 teams in a league and you can play a championship game, I think it's a benefit to the conference to be able to do that. So hopefully, the conference we're going to will grow into that one day.
Also, what is the status of Darius Joyner?
Darius Joyner, he is no longer with us.
Coach, I was kind of looking at Murray State, kind of wondering if they're turning around from last year, or from 2019 to this season. And big thing that really sticks out to me is they're just winning those close ball games this time around.
They really are. They've won some close games, but I go back to the top. I go back to this. That's Dean Hood and the way he handles business and the way he runs his program. And I think he's a top shelf guy that's doing an excellent job and has just completely turned that program around. I think the culture of the program, the mentality that they play the game with, the effort, just everything that you look at when you watch them on tape, they're just a solid football team. And like I said, I'm excited for him and the year they've had and turning around so quickly.
Coach, are you happy with the way the spring league has been received, by the fans? And is that something maybe you'd be comfortable with playing in the spring every year, or are you such a traditionalist you would hate that?
I think it's a complete negative to play in the spring myself. I don't think we've got near the exposure that you would think that we would get. I don't think there's been enough games on ESPN2 or ESPN or, thing. Now, for our fans in general, yeah, our fans love football and they're going to show up and come to games. And so all that's been fine on our end. But from national media across the country, they've missed some good opportunities, I think, to put some games on television. And you would think that would be the reason why you won't play FCS in the spring, but there's been hardly none of that. I mean, they put Jackson State on ESPN2, I think, for one game, and that's the only game you've seen on those national, syndications. So I would say no. I think it's a mistake. I would not want to play spring football in FCS for sure. I mean, I'd be totally against that.
And kind of playing off Joe's question on Thompson and the pipeline for receivers, what is it about Edwards and Petway do you think that they learned at Thompson that made them transition so well into college football? Obviously, far that they do that helps them make that transition?
Well, I think it's any program that's successful. It goes back to, old Barry Bryant statement: once a winner, always a winner. And some old school coaches wouldn't recruit kids from a program that wasn't winning because they didn't know how to win. So it's hard to teach a kid how to be a winner. So if they can do that at an early age, I think that's what they get out of the Thompson program. Coach is a great coach. He does a great job with that program. They do a lot of things well at Thompson, but I think it's that winning culture and knowing how to win that it helps those guys. And I think that just helps them at the next level. And so, you look at any, really good high school program, probably their middle school program wins as well. And you follow those groups through. So I think it goes kind of hand in hand. And we love to recruit kids from a program like Thompson, that wins and knows how to win. And that kid comes in, and those kids are good for your culture. Because I can say one thing about Ahmad and Petway, they know how to work. Because they worked at Thompson. They know what the grind that you got to put in to be good and to have a chance to win and win championships. So anytime you got a chance to add players from a culture like that to yours, it just speeds up the process once they're here. So a lot of times you get a kid that never won in high school or didn't win in middle school, it takes that kid a couple years longer to develop than a kid that comes from a really good program. Now that's not always the case, and I don't want to stereotype it, but there's a lot to be said for that. And you look at some of the freshmen we're playing right now; they came from really good high school programs. J. Rock on defense come from Oxford. They've been winning. He knows how to win, and he's fit into our program really well. A Petway and Ahmad. So I think that's something to be said not only from Thompson but from other programs as well.
As I'm reading the OVC standings, it looks to me like if Austin P wins this weekend, then the loser of this game, your game, is third. Does the league get two teams in the playoffs, you think?
Gonna be tough. I don't know. It's such a bizarre year. You just don't know what the committee's gonna do. The MEAC's already ate up another at-large bid. With them getting a team in, only 3 teams playing. Some of these teams are not going to play but 4 games, like CAA. With them not playing limited games, are they going to take? How many teams are going to take from CAA? How many teams are going to take from Missouri Valley? So it's going to be very interesting to see what they do. Now, in my opinion, which don't count for much, that committee enlisted to me. I think the OVC definitely deserves, 2 teams in. But I just don't know if they're going to do that or not. So we're the only team right now in the country that's got 8 wins over Division I opponents. So you would think that we would be in irregardless. Now we want to win the conference and get the automatic qualifier. But like I said, you just don't know what the committee's going to do, and we're not going to leave it up to committee. We're going to go win this game, so we got a right to as automatic qualifier to be in. So, and I think our bunch knows that, and I think if us and Murray, either one is who wants to continue playing the most.
Coach, can you talk about George Steele and how he's? I know you've mentioned the term Swiss Army knife type of player, and he's played basically every position now in that backfield, and now started the last 4 games at the corner. Talk about how he's come along and just his versatility on defense.
Well, excited anytime to talk about George. You're not going to find a more dedicated player than what George Steele is, and he's been that way since he's got here. Extreme top shelf work ethic. He just works extremely hard. He's always doing something extra, whether it be after practice, on days off. He's one of those guys you got to really pull the reins back on him, or he'll do too much. So that has never been his problem. Early, it was more of a mental thing of being comfortable and not pressing too much and all those things. And I think moving him around some, he just learned a knack for the game and learned our whole defense to where he can play multiple positions. So, like I said, it's just been fun to watch him come into his own. Now, he's always been able to play man coverage really well, where he's grown at this spring, even from just fall. And what you got to admire about George is when he don't know how to do something or he needs to get better at it, he figures a way out to do it. I've watched him do that. I'm going to go off the field, for instance, to math class, okay? George is a very good student. He may be in a math class. It is, that I don't know. I'm not going to speak for everybody on camera, but we would have a hard time going back in that math class and doing what I know I would, But he just, works at it daily. I've seen him spend hours upon hours on math daily to make an A in a math class that he didn't understand to start with. So he does the same thing in football. He wasn't good at zone coverage in the fall. He corrected that this spring. He's learned how to play better zone coverage. So he just he finds a way to get things fixed that he needs to get better at. And that's allowed him to be that analogy of a Swiss Army knife. You move him from nickel back out to corner to different places. He's had a great spring. Couldn't ask him to be, had a better spring than what he's had so far. He's been dominant in man coverage. He's done better with his own stuff, and he's just a complete player. So, and George's always been very, very physical. He does not shy on tackling. So he tackles very well. So when he's put in those situations, he's a good box player from that nickel position too. So just wish we had more of him. Wish you could leave one at corner, move one back to nickel. So he's playing that well right now. But that's been such a joy to watch him play and have the success he's had because he works so hard at it and he cares so much. Now, when you get him on the interview, see if you can't make him just smile just one time. I'll buy anybody on here lunch if you can get George to smile while he's doing his interview. Because sometimes that's my goal every day when I come in. Hey, I've had a successful day if I can get George Steele to smile. Because he's that serious about everything, and it's not a show. That's his personality. I mean, he's very serious, very literal in everything he does, and like I said, I think that's what makes him a really good player as well.
When you needed more bodies at that position after you had some injuries at corner, did George come to you guys? Or
No, it's us going to George. We kept losing corners, and that's a position you can get banged up in a hurry. So many ways a corner can get hurt, and that injury bug, it bit us corner-wise. He bit us nickel-wise, too. We used Fuquay and lost him along with two corners, and had URE not playing, and we're just hanging on by a thread depth-wise at those positions. So you had to take, George moved him out to the corner to play some, but you still need him at nickel as well. So hopefully we've had enough depth to move some people back around to kind of cover that up some, but definitely you would like to have multiple Georges to be able to play in both positions for sure. But we definitely went to him, Josh. I mean, and said, hey, you got to move back out to corner this week. And that was a hard move because he'd been playing so well at nickel too. So but there's some other guys that stepped up at nickel and done well.
I just try to be more valuable to the team, like wherever the team need help at. So if coach need me here, I'm gonna ask him, I work on it and try to go there. If you need me at corner, I go back there, study film, and watch the recent stuff, like it's little stuff that I need to work on to get back more comfortable being at that position.
George, it's Joe Medley at the Anderson Star. First of all, Coach said that you never smile. Is that true?
I mean, I don't have no reason to smile. I approach everything like it's a business. Everything is a business, so that's how I approach everything.
He said you're kind of a voracious learner. Learn new positions. He said you take some pretty brutal classes. How do you develop those habits? Where did you get that appetite?
I really got it from my mom and dad, like the way they carry themselves. So it's like it kind of like wore off on me. So that's why I get it from.
You're an engineering major, according to your bio. What are you planning on getting into?
Electronics.
And when you mentioned your mom and dad, what did they do?
My mom, she work at the VA right now, and my dad, he work at a warehouse.
And Coach mentioned some brutal math classes you're taking. What are you taking right now?
I ain't in math right now. I took math last semester, but I'm in physics right now and on computer and designs.
How tough was it to step in, first of all, for people that are injured, and then, to have to learn new positions and step into another position when somebody else got hurt?
It wasn't kind of hard. It was just something I'm naturally, like, I can just go out there and just do it because I've been working at it. I work on it every day after practice.
You go up against these receivers every day. I take it you probably work against Ahmad. What's he like?
He gonna give me his best each and every day. I mean, we go at it for every day at practice. He gonna give me his best every day.
George, playing all those positions, has that helped you with each one? So being able to play safety and nickel, or do you learn different things from those positions that allow you to play the others?
Yeah, I learned a lot. It basically helped me learn the defense and where I could tell somebody, like, if they out there, I could tell them where they supposed to be at or if they doing the wrong thing. So it basically helped me a lot to learn the whole defense.
Anything else for George, guys?
Yeah, I think Joe wins 3 lunches because I counted 3 George smiles like in that interview. So Joe's racking up the lunch points. But I just Googled George Steele, and there was a professional wrestler back in the day. His nickname was the Animal. So if you had to give yourself a nickname, what would it be?
I mean, I wouldn't know, but everybody call me that now, so I say Iron Man or something.
How much pride do you take in your versatility and just your I guess your mental toughness? I mean, that's obviously very important when it comes to being a football player, right?
Yes, sir.
How much pride do you take in?
I take pride in it. Like, I take it real serious. Like, it's like a job to me. I treat this like it is a job to me because you can get fired any day. And everybody out there go ahead.
Okay, no, we were talking. Coach Crosby was talking about how when you get football players from really great programs.
Yes, sir.
That seems to make the transition pretty easy. And he mentioned Edwards and Petway and Thompson. How about you at Hewitt Trustful? What did you get coached up on there by Coach Boyd that kind of made it easier for you to go into college?
Really, like, he was getting me prepared for, like, being, like, playing football at the next level, like weights and stuff. Like, we had to be there at a certain time. Say I was not used to that for real. So I had to get adapt to stuff like going to weights, having all them peers at practice like we have at practice now. So I had to get adept to that real quick.
It was definitely a blessing. I can only thank the man up above to actually have a game to have 100 yards. I haven't had that since high school. But I also want to shout out to the old linemen and the running backs because they definitely opened up the pass for us, just, busting their butt and getting the job done in the run game. And it definitely was a great win. I was very excited, to set up this week because this is what you want to play for. You want to play for championships, and I feel like we're a championship caliber team.
What was it like waiting your turn behind Josh and Jamari and that group, and what did you learn from those guys?
It was, Josh and Jamari, those are like my big brothers. I call them still to this day. Anything that I'm stressing on, or hey, what did let's say I called Josh last week, and hey, what did EIU DBs do? And he'll tell me, and I'll look on film, they were doing the exact same thing. So I was like, all right, thanks. So, it was definitely, they were a blessing, waiting my time. It got frustrating at times, but I'm glad I went through that because I feel like it made me the player I am today.
And what did you learn in a program like Thompson that helped you become the player you are today?
Really, I think I just learned to be a very confident player. I learned to be smarter in football, not just go out there and play. You know, be able to read defenses, and just be able to adjust to certain things. You know, being on time to everything, having sort of what George said. You know, like weights, all that. You know, I had stuff I had to adjust to.
You go up against the corners every day in practice, and George was just on here. What's he like to go up against?
George, he's a technician to me. You know, he gets in that press man, and George is very patient. So you got to make sure you give him a good move. And like Coach Gross said, he's a very physical player. So once you give him that move, you got to be ready because George he doesn't want to lose a rep just like you don't want to lose a rep. And you got to go out there and you really got to go get George. I feel like going against George actually made me the player I am today because we came in together. So George, he'll hit me up sometimes. Hey, let's go get some releases. I'll get some work with him. And George is kind of, like Coach Gross was saying, he's a workhorse, and that's what he does.
Anything else? Ahmad, how much would it mean to win the OVC championship in your last year in the league?
It would definitely mean a lot. You know, we came in my freshman year, we won it, and you know that's just been a goal ever since I heard that we were leaving. You know, it's been a goal for every single one of us. Me, DJ Coleman, we all talked about that, and that's just about what we want to do. We just want to leave our mark in the OVC.